Okay, welcome to Vocabulary List 5. So we have 4 roots, well actually 3 roots this week. We have path, which means to suffer, voc, which means to voice or call, temp, which means time, and then obviously we have our ever-loved extra words. So our first root, path, which means to suffer, we have empathetic, which is an adjective, apathy, which is a noun, sociopath, which is also a noun, and then pathological, which is an adjective. So empathetic. If you're empathetic towards somebody, you're experiencing the same feelings, the same attitudes. It's different from sympathy. Sympathy, you feel badly for them. Empathy, you can actually feel their pain because you've been there before. So the empathetic puppy understood the deer needed friends too, probably because the puppy also was friendless at one point in his life. So he wants to be friends with the deer now. So empathetic is an adjective. If you want to use it as a noun, it's empathy. And obviously you can say empathetically if you want to have an adverb. Apathy is the exact opposite of empathy, that it's a lack of interest or concern for things. You have no passion or emotion or excitement, probably how you feel about school. Apathy has a synonym, which is it has a synonym, which is indifference. All right, so we have some guest speakers now. I had to pause this for our guest speakers. So let me finish up apathy, and then they'll go over the next slide with you. All right, so apathy is a lack of passion, emotion, or excitement, which is not how these gentlemen feel about going over a vocab word, I can assure you. But you probably do feel pretty apathetic about school. And apathetic would be the adjective form of this word, even though the slide does not say apathetic on it. Sorry about that, guys. All right, our next word is sociopath. So we have Patrick and Anthony who can tell you about a sociopath.
A sociopath is a person whose behavior is antisocial, often criminal, and who lacks a sense of moral responsibility.
A sentence for sociopath is others accused Dexter of being a sociopath because he hated talking to others and continuously killed innocent people. That's actually my favorite TV series. You should check it out.
He's doing his persuasive speech early, guys. He's doing it early. All right, sociopathic would be the adjective form. All right, Patrick feels pretty confident about pathological, this adjective, so he's going to tell you about it too.
It's your boy Patrick out here with pathological. That's an adjective for you guys. Caused by involving disease, caused by or evidencing of a mental disturbed condition. A sentence for it would be, her friends knew she was a pathological liar because she told them a different version of what had happened every time they'd asked. She was crazy, y'all.
Yeah, she was crazy. Cray-cray, as you guys would say. All right, so that's pathological for you, as Anthony raps in the background about pathological and sociopath. All right, next root is voc, which means to voice or call. We have vociferate, evoke, provoke, irrevocable, advocate or advocate, invoke, and provocateur. All right, vociferate. Would one of you gentlemen like to tell us about vociferate, which is a verb?
I don't know much about this one, but it's the speaker cried loudly or noisily. The sentence, the angry boss vociferated his expectations to the employer because he had recently gotten many complaints about customer service.
Okay, now what would you guys vociferate about if I did this in class? What do you always vociferate when teachers do this? And everybody's like, no, really?
Homework on the weekend.
Homework on the weekend makes you
bop.
vociferate, makes you cry out loudly. You should be vociferating for hawk time every day, right?
Why?
Yeah. Don't you want hawk time every day? Don't
you?
Evoke, which is a verb, to call up or produce, like memories or feelings. So maybe your speech will evoke some laughter for your classmates. As a little girl was going through her old toys, she came across the teddy bear her grandmother had given her when she was little, evoking feelings of sadness. When you look at pictures of yourself when you're little, Patrick, what kind of feelings does it evoke for you?
Oh, good memories.
Good memories. You're like, oh man, I was such a cute kid.
Oh, look at that guy.
So cute. Evoke awesomeness. All right, provoke. How many siblings do you have?
7.
You have 7 siblings. So to provoke is to anger, enrage, or exasperate. How often do your siblings provoke you?
Oh, they test me all the time.
They test you all the time. I provoked my brother until he hanged me on a doorknob by my pants. So the little kids in this sentence provoke the goat by pulling his ears and teasing him with food. Don't make me angry, says the goat. All right, irrevocable is an adjective. Means it cannot be revoked or recalled. You can't take it back. So if you murder someone, you can't take it back. It's irrevocable. Unless they can come back to life, and then I guess it can be taken back. But I don't think that happens in real life. So although the man was truly innocent, the judge's decision was irrevocable.
This is kind of a dark vocab list.
All of the vocab lists are dark, aren't they? Advocate, a noun, is a person who argues for or supports a cause or policy. So maybe you are an advocate for animal rights. I don't know, like Sarah McLachlan on those commercials with the dogs. Yeah, anti-animal testing. You're an advocate who speaks against animal testing because you're an advocate for animals. So Jennifer advocated why she was the best candidate for the job by demonstrating her leadership. Look at that. We use it as a verb here, advocated, because you can also say you advocated as a verb. Look at that. Works as a noun or a verb. So our next word is invoke. Okay, give it a second. There you go. All right, so our next word is invoke.
Now, hello, fellow Americans. The next word for you is invoke. To mention someone or something in order to make them feel a certain way, feeling some type of way, or have a certain idea in their mind. The synonym for this is appeal. It's a verb. Sentence for this one is the teacher invoking the power of rewards to motivate his students to study, mentioned in a monetary prize for the students the highest grade on the test. Thank you, and I approve this message.
That was just great. Look at that. You had an appearance by the president right there. Okay, our next one, provocateur. The image is a little unsettling. I'm not going to lie to you. You can thank Ryan Steinberg for that one. He's a senior. He made this one for me. So provocateur is one who causes the occurrence of or makes something happen. They provoke. They stir the pot. That's like Squealer in Animal Farm. The picture that Ben chose for the slide is the provocateur of great laughter. Is the creator, is the one who causes that laughter to happen. Demagogues are usually provocateurs. FYI. All right, our third root is temp, which means time. We have contemporary, temporal, extemporaneous, and tempestuous. So our first word, tempestuous, is full of strong emotions. You're in a glass case of emotion. Ryan was very tempestuous after his sister broke his FIFA 14 disc. Uh-oh. Jerk sister. All right, synonyms, raging, furious. You know the people who are always angry. They're like a tempest. They're like a storm coming through. That's tempestuous. Adjective, full of strong emotions. Extemporaneous. I don't understand this picture, but apparently it's extemporaneous. Means composed or done on the spur of the moment, which is not how you should do your persuasive speeches, guys. Terrio, being the kid that he is, started doing the "Oh Kill 'Em" extemporaneous dance when he was unexpectedly called up to perform during the Super Bowl halftime show. So spontaneous is a synonym for this one. So you should not present your speech extemporaneously because you probably won't get as good of a grade. Just saying. Temporal is of or relating to time, doesn't last very long. Although she was a religious leader, the rabbi had a big influence on temporal affairs, worldly affairs. All right, contemporary means current, of the same time period. Modern day. The fight was recorded by a contemporary bystander and posted on worldstarhiphop.com. You are so sorry. All right, some extemporaneous yelling over there. All right.
That's what they always say in the videos.
Now we have our extra words. Tedious. It's probably how you feel about schoolwork. Tiresome because of length and dullness. Getting into an argument with a Demery, if you know the Demerys, Mr. Demery, very smart math teacher. Getting into an argument with a Demery is tedious because you will most likely never win. It will tire you out because it takes forever and it is long and boring.
We got you.
Okay, we have disingenuous, which means dishonest, not true, not sincere. So not true, not honest, or not sincere. Okay, not to be confused with not being true, but it is honest or sincere. That doesn't make any sense. It is not true, not honest, or not sincere. Giving a false appearance. So liar, liar, pants on fire. That's a pretty good example of disingenuous, because somebody who's disingenuous isn't being genuine. Think about it that way. So Mike is disingenuous when he says he has plans Friday night because he is actually a hermit. So he's actually being dishonest. He's not being true. We don't like disingenuous people. Don't we call them two-faced? We don't like them very much. We complain about them pretty frequently. So that's disingenuous. It's an adjective. You can talk about somebody's disingenuousness, or you can say that they responded disingenuously, which would mean that they responded dishonestly or insincerely. All right, preemptive. So it's done to stop an unwanted act by another group, country, etc. Usually this is in terms of military. So maybe you requisition more troops in a preemptive attempt to stop the enemy. So the government reached out to make a peace treaty with North Korea in a preemptive act to prevent war. So you're trying to stop something that you're thinking will happen later on by doing something preemptively. And so we have this treaty here that's supposed to be an example of something done preemptively. See? Treaty. All right. Our next word is fastidious. Very careful about how something is done, liking few things, hard to please. We all know people like this who are fastidious eaters. They're like really picky eaters. They're very particular about it. If you've ever watched the show Monk, he is very fastidious. He needs things done a certain way. So Michael is so fastidious that he made me order him McDonald's instead of having pizza like everyone else at the party because he was picky. Apparently that Michael, he does not like pizza. Who doesn't like pizza? But Michael does not like pizza. That's who does not like pizza. He likes McDonald's because he's fastidious. He's a fastidious eater. My husband is not a fastidious eater. He is like Mikey. He'll eat everything and he'll like it. And that concludes vocabulary list 5. So remember that empathy is different from, so remember that, oh no, we're going all over the place. Alright, so remember that empathy is different from sympathy, because sympathy, we feel badly for somebody, we pity them, but we haven't really been where they are. Empathy, we've been there. We understand their feelings because we know those feelings, we felt those feelings. Apathy, we have no feelings, we're feelingless. That's not really a word, but I made it one. Don't worry about that. Sociopath, you're like Dexter, but he's actually like, he's the sociopath that everyone loves because he kills off the people nobody wants to live anyway. I feel like that's a bad thing, but pathological. Think a lot of times people say pathological liars. It's like they lie and can't help it. It's like a disease for them. You have pathological drinkers because it's like they can't control it. They can't help it. Well, they could help it if they never started in the first place, but it's kind of like a disease. It takes them over. Vociferate, you're calling out loudly. You are crying out about something. So if I gave you a lot of homework, you would vociferate about it. Evoke, you're evoking emotion. So you're not saying like, I evoked my brother on the phone yesterday, like I called my brother on the phone. No, I evoke sadness in my brother because I told him that his pet bunny died. Provoke, I provoked my brother by telling him I was not touching him, and then he hanged me on the door and I by my pants. So it is not good to provoke your older brother who has lots of pounds and inches on you and can hang you on a doorknob by your pants. Irrevocable, remember, it can't be taken back. Advocate is a verb or a noun. So you can advocate for something because you support it, or you can be an advocate. You are a supporter. If you invoke something, you're calling on a higher power. So as a student, you might have to invoke the administration. If you feel like a teacher is being unfair to you and the teacher won't listen to you, then you might have to invoke the authority of the administration. A provocateur, think about them, they're like pot stirrers. They get everybody riled up. Tempestuous, you have like a stormy personality, really, really emotional, and you probably break up with people if they're tempestuous, just saying. And they might be tempestuous if you break up with them. Extemporaneous, done on the fly. So you do not want to present your speech extemporaneously. A lot of you have probably presented your foreign language projects extemporaneously. How did that go for you? Temporal means it has to deal with like worldly affairs or that it's lasting for only a short time. Contemporary, it's this current time. It's contemporary, it means it's modern, it's happening right now. Okay? Tedious, long, boring, dull, that's probably how you feel about vocabulary and homework. Disingenuous is dishonest. So you don't want to be disingenuous. So genuine, think like disingenuous means you're not being genuine. Preemptive, think like you're doing it beforehand. You're trying to do something to stop something else from happening. And fastidious, you're really picky and you like things done a certain way. So that is vocabulary list 5, guys. Remember that you have to do your exit ticket after this.